Ladies and gentlemen, we have returned for some more card reviews, some limited card reviews. The limited card review is brought to you by me. That's me. It's me. I'm the guy who's doing the card review. That's the whole joke. If you want to know more about what I'm talking about, or like some of the stuff on the slides, what it means, I have a little video about like, hey, this is what the card, like the context means for how I'm grading the cards. This is mostly like for me though, just to like help me evaluate cards better, be better at it, and maybe like reflect on like things that I said in the past and like pay for my sins instead of just being like, I always thought that this card was good, even though like I definitely didn't think it. So I just want to like have something written down and put out into the ether to sort of keep myself accountable on that kind of thing. So we're gonna just get right into it here. And the first card in black is Aggressive Sabotage. It's 2 and a black. Target player discards 2 cards. It has a red kicker. If it kick it, deals 3 damage to that player. I do like the kicker on this. It just makes it into like lethal. Like basically, it just sort of is like, hey, sometimes you want to deal 3 damage to your opponent. It's like, yeah, usually when you're in red, you want to deal 3 damage to your opponent. So I would say that that is true here as well. And yeah, that's all I got to say about this Mind Rot variant. Next, Balduvian Atrocity. 2 and a black, 2/3. Kicker. Single red, again, not a couple of those. It's got Menace. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, you return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, you sacrifice it. I think you kind of want to be kicking this every time because without getting something back, it's like really uninspiring. It's really not great. And I don't even think even if you get something back, it's that good. Like, you really have to have stuff that you want to get back temporarily, and you have to have like a place to sacrifice it. I don't know. I'm out on this card and think that it's very mediocre most of the time. Next, Battle Rage Blessing. 2 mana. Creature gets death touch and indestructible in that turn. No. Not interested. No thanks. No. Bad removal. No. Next, Battlefly Swarm. Single black, 1/1 flyer, and you can pay a black to give it death touch until end of turn. This is tough for me. Like, it does attack. This would honestly be great in a set with like ninjutsu or something. Like if this was in like Neon Dynasty, you'd be like, oh man, this thing's an absolute house because it just never gets blocked. But it isn't doing enough damage that I'm super interested in. It is good against flyers, and like that's something that is nice to have in your deck sometimes. But I'm not super high on this card. Next, Blight Pile. 1 and a black, 3/3 defender. You can pay 3 and tap it, and your opponent loses X life, where X is the number of creatures with defender you control. Unfortunately, you don't gain that life, too. That would be sick. But, can't have nice things in defender meme territory. But, someday. Someday. Look, I want the defender thing to work. You know? I want it to just be doable. I don't want it to be, like, format warping, but I do want it to be doable. Anyways, I don't think this card's great. I think it's whatever. I think it's mostly just a 3-mana defender, which is not generally very good. Next, Bone Splinters with sick art. Sick art. Single black mana, sacrifice a creature, destroy a creature. That's yeah. I don't think this is good, but maybe somebody else who knows how good this card is can tell me if it's good or not. This is sort of like a, hey, for all you players that have like played with this in an actual limited set before, you should just know how good this is better than me. There's some tokens, there isn't like an overwhelming amount of tokens, especially in black. Next, Braids Arisen Nightmare. 1 black, 3/3. At the beginning of your end step, you can sacrifice a permanent type. If you sacrifice a permanent of a type, your opponent has to do the same as permanent of the same type. So you can sack a land and make them sack a land, or a creature and a creature, or whatever. So this is probably really good. You can build around it. You can make your opponents do stuff. You don't have to sack anything if you don't want to. It's funny if you just like sack a land and they're just like, haha, you never get to have a 3-drop opponent. You'll never have lands, but I don't know. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. Next, Braid's Frightful Return. 2 and a black for read ahead Saga. You can sacrifice a creature. If you do, each opponent discards a card. You return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and target opponent may sacrifice a non-land, non-token permanent. If they don't, they lose 2 life and you draw cards. This is just really good. This card's really good. I love this card. I love read ahead on this card. There are some of the read ahead cards I think really nail it, and I think this is an example of a read ahead card really nailing the read ahead mechanic. Some of them are kind of meh, but this one I think is really really good and a really cool way to use the mechanic. So that's my designer take. Hashtag designer takes that I have no design experience, but you know that's okay. You don't need to have experience to like have takes about things. Next, choking miasma. 1 black black. Give all the stuff -2/-2. There's a green kicker. You can put +1/+1 counters on. Oh, it's a creature you control? Okay, wait, no, I need to move this to tier 4. I thought this gave you a +1/+1, like it just gave +1/+1 to your team. It doesn't do that. This is bad. This is even worse than I thought it was. It's still terrible. You know what? I should move it down. But you know what? You can be tier 3. You can be just bad. Whatever. Next, the Cruelty of Kicks. 3 black black. Another read ahead saga. Target opponent reveals their hand. You could probably get a creature from it, and they discard it. You search your library for a card, put that card in your hand, and then shuffle. You lose 3 life. And you put target creature card from your graveyard into the battlefield under your control. So this just seems really, really good. This just seems like insanely good. If you like are going to die, and this is like you top deck this, and you can just get back your opponent's best card, that's great. If you're leading the game, if it's like late game and your opponent, like you're at parity and your opponent doesn't have anything in their hand, you can just start at turn 2, go grab a card, put it into your hand, and then you can at the start of your next turn put something onto the battlefield. This card's just really good. It's really really a lot for 5 mana. So next, Cult Conscript, single black 2/1, enters battlefield tapped, and you can pay 2 to return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. Act only if a non-skeleton creature died under your control this turn. Importantly, you can do it on your opponent's turn. It's just a creature that you control has to die, and it has to not be a skeleton, which is pretty much every creature in the set. So, unlimited value creatures like this, I think, are always pretty good because they just sort of give you stuff to sack forever and ever. Now, the enter tap thing, hasn't stopped cards before from being good. So. Next, single black mana cut down. Destroy target creature with total power and toughness 5 or less. This card's good. It does get blown out pretty hard by combat tricks. Like, combat tricks do pretty much just absolutely destroy this card. Because it's like, oh, and your removal spell failed, So you should probably be casting this on your turn more than you should be casting it on your opponent's turn, would be my guess with this card. Interaction is not a friend of this. Much more even than like regular removal spells. And it doesn't get everything you want, but it gets like all the flyers, which is really what it needs to do. So I'm happy with it. It's good. It's a good card. It will be overdrafted. There's literally no chances I will never have this card in my deck. I promise you that, because I'm never going to pick it high enough for me to have it in my deck. So, good luck to those of you who will. Next to the black Defiler, 2 black 4/4 menace. It has the Defiler text with black, and when you cast a black permanent spell, target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains menace until end of turn, which is probably the worst, I think, of the Defiler's effects. Maybe red is worse. I forget what the red one is. But yeah, it's still like really good. These are all good. I have a typo on my slides. It's fine. Nobody cares. You didn't notice it. No, dude. Nobody noticed it. just viewed while you were recording the show. Anyways, yeah. Next, dried to the bottom. 2 black, sorcery as domain. Each creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is 1 plus the number basically on types of lands you control. This turns into a languish pretty fast, but it really so here's the problem with this card, right? It's black, and it requires you to have like 3 or more land types for it to be good. Maybe 2 land types is enough, and you're just getting -3/-3. But I don't know. It's situational weird wrath tends to not be especially great. Maybe domain's actually good on this, and I'm like just wrong. But I think this is not gonna do what you want enough of the time that you're gonna be thrilled with it. I think it's still fine. I just don't think it's gonna be game winning every game. Next, Eerie Soul Tender, 2 mana black for a 3/1. When it enters the battlefield, you mill 3 cards. You can exile it from your graveyard and return another target creature from your graveyard to your hand. You return it to your hand and not to the battlefield. Yeah, I mean, you'll see me going on a rant on the in the slide here. But basically, yeah, like, we just can't have good Reanimator. It's just not allowed. We can print busted 4-drop flyers, but we can't have good Reanimate cards, and I can't really figure out why. I don't really, you know what I mean? Can't figure it out. Anyways, there's a bunch of like small boats next to the guy with the big boat, so that's cool. Our card art moment. Next, Evolved Sleeper. 1 mana for a 1/1 human that just upgrades into a bigger and bigger thing by paying 1 mana and then 2 mana and then 3 mana. These type of cards are very, very good. Especially this one, you can just keep going forever and ever. You can just keep putting counters on it and drawing cards and losing life. So it's just an absolute beast. It's a monster. It does tie to removal, but, it also gets the benefit of being out early, so. Next, Extinguish the Light. 2 black, instant. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. If the mana value is 0 less, you gain 3 life. Yep. It's just Grim Bounty, but doesn't make you a treasure. It's probably worse than Grim Bounty, but probably not like that much worse. It still just destroys the thing. You're happy. This is what you pay to do that. In black, this is sort of what you're typically expecting to pay, so you're paying it. Next, Gibbering Barricade. 2 to black for 2/4 defender. Sacrifice a creature, you gain 1 life and draw a card. This line of text tends to be pretty good. The ability and the defender, this might be the best defender of the defenders, especially at common. So like if you're in the defender payoff tribal zone and you get like a bunch of these and the black one, you could get there. I believe. I don't actually believe, but I wish I believed. Next, Knight of Dusk Shadow, the enemy of the white one. That's the joke. 1 and a black for a 2/2 with menace. Your opponents can't gain life. It can get +1/+1 until end of turn. Notably worse than the white one, because menace is worse than first strike, in my opinion. Especially on a 2/2. But still very good, so, yeah. When they do this type of thing with Dominaria, like, stuff, they tend to make the knights that are opposite, like the black and the white knights, they tend to make them pretty good, and this is another set where that's true. Next, it's the Liana of the Veil. It's 1 black for a planeswalker. +1, each player discards a card. -2, target player sacrifices a creature. -6. Just good stuff happens, probably. I don't know. I don't think you're ever going to get to a -6, probably. I don't know. Things to note, like, about this artwork first, like, you'll note that the mirror is, like, is it not a mirror? Because, like, does she have just 2 heads? Is it like a Harry Potter situation here? It's like, she's looking for, like, I don't know. It's all very confusing. Yeah, like you're basically just gonna start like you play this on turn 3, you minus, your opponent's like no, and then you like they have to kill it or they probably lose because you're just gonna start making you simultaneously discard cards, and you play like a 4-drop, and it's like, oh well, we had a good game. Probably not like the best thing ever, but and it is not great when you draw it later. But on turn 3, it's really really good. Next, monstrous Whirleech. 3 and a black for a star. You can kick it for blue. If it was kicked, you mill 4. Its power and toughness are equal to the highest mana value among cards in your graveyard, which just seems like a really bad ability. And we just had this in HPG, and it was bad. Even like the dragon thing was bad and not good. So, thanks. Next, 2 and a black, 2/2 Phyrexian Rager. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you can lose 1 life. Yep. Another one of these. They're good. Always really good. Always top tier. Always, this is going to be Black's best common. It's not going to be especially close. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. It's really good. Next, Phyrexian Vivisector. 2 mana, 2/2. I think I meant to make this tier 3, and I wrote tier 4. I thought I changed it to 3. Maybe I'm just stupid. But yeah, it's just a 2 mana 2/2 basically. It scries 1 when your stuff dies, which is fine. Next, Phyrexian Warhorse. 4 mana 3/3. You can kick it for a white. When it enters the battlefield, it was kicked, create a 1/1 token. You sacrifice another creature, and it gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Sure, this is not great. You're kind of just paying for a hill giant here. It seems kind of bad. Like maybe I should even make this lower. Like it's not. It's pretty unplayably bad when I look at it, you know. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Next, Pilfer. 1 and a black for target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an online card from it. They discard it. This style of card is pretty good in limited actually because it says non-land instead of non-creature non-land. So you're paying the extra mana, but in limited you're probably just getting something pretty big, and they don't get to like draw something off it. Like I'm pretty happy with this card. I think this card is pretty good. I think the Theros version of this Agonizing Remorse was pretty good. So I think this is going to equally be pretty good in limited. Next, Ravenman. 2 mana, 2/1. At the beginning of each end step, if a player discarded this card this turn, you create a 1/1 bird. You could make each opponent discard a card if you want. So, I don't know. Probably never doing that, but you could do it. This card's just fine. It's just a 2 mana, 2/1 mostly. It makes birds. Like, if it just makes a bird, you're like, yay, I got there. Yay, this card was like above average. But you're probably not like expecting it to like win your games for you. Next, Songgear, Connoisseur. 3 black for a 3/3. Flyer. When more creatures die, you put +1/+1 counter on it. Only once each turn, though. These type of cards are generally very, very bad and are too slow, so I don't expect this to be different. Next, Shadow Prophecy. 2 and a black. Look at the top. X cards are in library, where X is the number of basic land types. I'm going to put 2 of them in your hand and the rest of your graveyard. Okay, wait. Maybe I've like been too harsh on you. You're a draw to. You know what? No, you're tier like. You can be. I thought that you only got 1. It's tier 3. This is tier 3. Maybe it's even better because they do go to your graveyard. I don't know. It's whatever. The card's still just card draw. So next, Shadowred Priest. 2 mana for a 2/2 cleric. Other clerics you control get +1/+1. There aren't any other clerics, so good luck with that ever doing anything. And you can sacrifice another cleric that you don't have. So it's basically just a 2 mana 2/2, which is a tier 4. So next, Shieldrat. 2 black. 4/5 Death Touch. You draw a card, you gain 2 life. When your opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. Yep. Pretty good. Just a big body that makes your opponent lose 2 life pretty much on the spot. So. That's about it. Next, Shell of Gerard's Restoration. 3 and a black for a sorcery that reanimates your thing, but it costs you life total equal to the mana value of it unless you pay white, the 2 and a white kicker, to make it a total of 7 mana, and then you gain life equal to its mana value. Again, sort of like going on my Wizards of the Coast hates reanimate effects for some reason. I don't know why. They refuse to even make like even one concession once for there to be a marginally okay one. This is not. No, this is just not. You can't be affording to spend like 5 or 6. I mean, maybe you can, but like, I don't. I just think that it's so. It's already situational enough, like that you just can't use it. So, I just don't think it ever gets there. Next, Splatter Goblin, 1 and a black, 2/1. When it dies, target creature and opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. I think this variety of card always tends to be pretty good. And I think this one is not an exception to that, even though it's a 2 mana and not, it's not as good as Shambling Ghast. But the ability to pick off 1/1s, especially tokens, is very good. This blocks 2/2s, blocks three toughness things. It can attack into 3 toughness things. So, it's pretty good. Next, Stronghold Arena, 2 mana. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life for each time it was kicked, but you're never doing that. So whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you reveal the top card of your library and put it in your hand. If you do, you lose life equal to its mana value. So, like, you just don't. This is not good. So thanks. Requires you to hit your opponent to draw cards. It already is putting you down a card. You lose life when you get the cards, and the kicker is like only you're paying to healing salve yourself, which isn't very good. So we're just going to pass on this. Next, Tattered Apparition. 3 and a black, 2/2 flyer. Gets +1/+1 until end of turn. You can pump it for 1 and a black, and you get +1/+1 until end of turn. Just seems a little too low impact to me. Talked a little bit about how 4 mana 2/2 flyers just aren't very good because they don't block anything when they come down. This is, yeah, that for sure. Next, Toxic Abomination, 2 mana, 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, you lose 2 life. I'm pretty in on this. 3 power 2 drops. Pretty good. Now, it does kind of like the tempo is great, right? You're getting a 3/2 for 2. You're losing 2 life. You probably can't run like 5 of these. You probably can't. I think 3 is probably the limit. That's not true. You could run. Like, if you ran 4, you'd probably be fine. They do become unplayable if you play too many of them, though. But the first copy is incredible. The second copy is, I think, equally incredible as the first copy. And then the third copy, I think, is where it starts to maybe fall off a little bit. But yeah, you definitely want one of these. Next, Tribute to Erbog. 1 and a black. -2/-2 on your opponent, or I guess not necessarily your opponent's creature. It could be any creature. If you want it, minus your thing. And then there's the blue kicker that makes it -1/-1 for each sorcery card in your graveyard, not including this one. Yeah, these tend to be bait. Don't fall for this removal spell. It's not typically very good. So I think this one is also not going to be very good. Next, Herbal Repossession. 1 mana, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If you gain 2 life, if this spell is kicked, you return another target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, this card's pretty nice. It's just pure draw, and you have to have stuff in your graveyard, but yeah. It's fine. It's not amazing, but it's fine. And last but not least, and actually no, it is least, is 6 and a black, Writhing Necroromance. It's a 5/5 with Death Touch. It costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard, but it's hard to get creature cards in your graveyard. You're not like really doing a ton of mill. There's not really a self-mill theme in either black or green. If you make this into a 5 mana 5/5 Death Touch, do you really care? No is the answer. I don't see this being really that good. So, not necessarily super inspired by the black cards either, especially at common and uncommon. I feel like white is still sort of the best slate so far I've seen. I think I've been most impressed by. Certainly the uncommons in white. Black are sort of, whatever. Anyways, that's it. That's my set review on black. Excited to be wrong about all these things, probably, potentially. And come back and get mad at myself in the future. Alright, that's it. Thank you for sticking around if you stuck around. Thank you to me for making this so that I have a thing to go back and watch in the future so that I can hold myself accountable. Alright, that's it. See you.